Hey, Launch Family, this is your third bonus for bonus week, and it is another Q&A with Jeff and Dan. It's amazing how many questions they can go through in this time, and I think this one is dense with some really crucial and awesome information. So if you have questions for them, go to getyouLaunch.com. If you want to go deeper into the masterclass, all of this information is going away on Thursday, August 28th at 10 p.m. Eastern. That means PLF offer is going away. That means all the free trainings from lesson 1, lesson 2, and lesson 3 are going away. All the case studies are going away. And all of the extra bonuses that we've been doing this week, they're all going away on Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern time. So if you've still got the time, go check it out. All right. Don't wait. And here's today's Dare to Launch, a Q&A with Jeff and Dan.
Hello, everybody. Come on in, take a seat. Q&A number 2 of the Launch Masterclass. Let me know in the chat, who is here for Q&A number 1? Nice. We got a whole bunch of folks. Awesome. Awesome. Was there anybody who was not here for the first Q&A? Anybody who this is your first Q&A? Okay. Looks like Sean, Christina, Lisa. Okay, we got a few people. So if we haven't met yet, I'm Dan. I'm the marketing lead here. I've been behind the scenes working on every single launch that we've done here since 2010. So I am your co-host. And of course, my other co-host here does not need any introduction. Mr. Jeff Walker, creator of Product Launch Formula himself. Hey Jeff, how you doing today?
I am doing well. I'm doing very, very well. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so for those of you who have been around our campus for a while, you know Dan, and you know the wisdom he brings. So we're both going to be just bringing the heat here, doing our best. For those of you who raised your hand, don't bother raising your hands. We're just going to take questions from the chat. We're not going to be unmuting people, just to be as efficient as possible, because you all know how it is when you start unmuting people, you end up getting their sort of life story, which is awesome, but not terribly efficient. And we want to get to as many questions as possible. And I have to tell you, we're coming to you from Durango, Colorado. This is my secret headquarters. This isn't my home. I got a pretty humble home, but I got a nice big secret headquarters that we do broadcasts from.
Yeah, you probably fit your whole home in that main great room at the secret headquarters, honestly.
Yeah, I think so. But so we are in Southwest Colorado. We're about 300 miles from the nearest big city. We live out in the mountains because we can. It's beautiful here, but we've been in a crazy drought, and it hasn't rained for, I don't know, 6 weeks or something. And it is 5 minutes ago, it started coming down like I'm just so happy about this. Let me just see if you can see. Normally you see great big mountains out the window, and it is just pouring down rain, and we could not be happier. Just could not be happier.
Finally, a couple months late, but we will take it.
Yeah.
Let it come in right.
Yeah. So go ahead, and we're going to be taking questions here from the chat. Oh, one other thing is we're going to turn the public chat off here in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason we do that is just because it becomes a sideshow. It becomes a distraction, and sometimes it becomes a clown show. So Dan and I are still going to see your comments coming in. We'll be taking your questions. We'll be reacting to them, but we're just going to turn off the public chat just so we can stay focused.
Yeah, it just makes for such a better learning environment, honestly, is what we've found. And it's funny, we started doing this a year or two ago, and we just kind of guessed. We were like, I think this is going to just be way better learning environment. And we've just gotten such positive feedback.
Yeah.
Like, it really works. So everyone cool with that? So we'll do that. I'm going to flip the chat now. And again, don't worry, Jeff and I are still seeing all your chats, but we have hundreds of people on here. We've added another 100-ish since we started 4 minutes ago. So it gets to be a little crazy in that chat after a little while if we leave it on. So let's see. Okay. Well, so how this is going to work is we've got an hour with you here. And so I'd say go ahead, drop your questions in the chat. You can use the Q&A function, or you can just type them in the regular chat. Either one will work. And we're just going to start pulling questions and we're going to start answering them. And yeah, that's
Yeah, we're
about
going to
it.
focus on on really on launches. I saw a question here from Venetia. I'm just going to jump in because this is sort of interesting. We don't. It's not a question we normally get. Does having a partner, where did it go? Does having a business partner add or detract? I feel like they're comfortable with, and they could add authority, but concern or interest might differ down the track. So I'm just going to say super quick, because this is a little off topic, but I've been in business now for almost 30 years. I did have a business partner for the first business I was in that it didn't end well. He stole the business. And so the second time around, I didn't have a partner. You know, it can work and it can go bad. The one thing is if you have a business partnership, by definition, it will end. There will be an end to it, even if it's one of you passing away, but there will be an end to it. So put some time into planning the end of it before you start it, because it's easy to start and they can be messy to get out of. And I think that's why my partner stole the business from me, because he was just like, he wasn't a good communicator and didn't know how to communicate that he wanted to be out of the partnership. So he just took it. So anyways, that's a weird one to start with. Let's jump into some launch questions.
Yeah. Let's see. I did see one. I saw one from Tom right at the beginning. I don't have a business, starting from nothing. Suggestions? Do a seed launch, dude. Lesson 2, check it out. 3 types of launches. Actually, lesson 1 and lesson 2 are up right now. I would say just go through those, and a seed launch is gonna be your friend.
Yeah.
Let's see. This is an interesting one. Wow, it's one that I liked answering. Anonymous attendee. It's one of those like fancy, it's one of those like trendy names, probably. Anonymous attendee, for anyone launching an online course or any platforms you recommend to take payments for signups or host the online videos, my recommendation is that you do not stress very much about that. Unless you've been in business for a long time and you've got a lot of experience and you've got a lot of things you have to consider for it, because you're processing tons of payments and you've got tons of team and you've got all kinds of stuff. Like if you're starting out, I would say pick the most obvious, easiest solution that seems to work for you, that you can find, and just run with that. Because this is one of those questions where you could spend absolutely forever spinning your wheels and trying to find the best one. And if you're starting out, it just doesn't matter that much. Like put that energy towards creating a great course and a great launch, and figure that stuff out later, because it just doesn't matter that much, honestly.
I got one from Gmark here. I have 42,000 YouTube followers and 34,000 LinkedIn followers with my weekly cybersecurity podcast.
Nice.
I don't have a mailing list. So what's the best way to move from a free podcast to a more valuable process? It would be to move them to an email list. I think if you just created a really great lead magnet, and it could be just like the top 10 the top 10 cybersecurity questions that I get asked the most, and just create a PDF on that, drive people, put them on an email list, and it right there, you've added value, because you control that. You don't control your YouTube followers. You don't control your LinkedIn followers. You can't control whether they see a video from you or a post from you. You can't control whether they change the rules from you. I have a good friend who lost his YouTube account for no good reason. He never did get an explanation. I personally lost my Facebook account because some hackers tried to hack into it, and Facebook just shut it down and killed the account. It was gone. So it's great that you have those followings, and try to move those over to an email list. And then, I mean, you're just set up with, clearly you know what you're doing. Clearly you can know about delivering value. And so just move them to email list. And then, the thing is, it's not like you abandon those followers, those audiences on YouTube and LinkedIn. When you go to do a seed launch, would probably be the first thing you would want to do is a seed launch. Then you'll email your list, but you'll still be posting to LinkedIn. You'll still be putting up YouTube videos. You'll still be publishing on your podcast. And it's like, you think of it as one big audience driving into your seed launch. It's just, you can't miss.
Love it. Let's see. Here's one. Lynette. Lynette, this is a great question. Yeah, this is a cool one. Lynette saying, what if you're starting out and others are comparing you to the great success of others, like their courses versus my courses? How to find your place in spite of the strong presence of well-known people. So what I want to do is I want to open your eyes to an advantage that you have that you might not have considered. And the fact is that if you're smaller, you're just starting out, you've got a smaller audience, the advantage you have is intimacy. The advantage that you have is you can do unscalable things. Like, for example, Jeff's business, great big business. We have thousands of PLF owners. We have so many, so by necessity, Jeff is not going to be answering every single thing that comes up for every single person. But if you're just starting out, you can do that. So, like your competitors, if you've got people who have had great success, first of all, that's great. That means that your business idea is something that people actually want and something that people are going to buy. But if they've got a great big business, they're probably not getting super personal. Like I would bet you can get personal with your folks in a way that they can't. You can know people's names. You can know people's stories. You can answer questions individually. If you're having somebody who's having struggles with something, you can say, "Hey, let's jump on a quick Zoom," or "Hey, shoot me an email." And you can work through that with them individually. And you can start to build this reputation as someone who is just going really deep with your people and really offers just that exceptional level of access and personal support. And that's something that, A, super valuable, and people will generally pay more for that sort of service than they would for just, say, a course where they're, just going to be in it and then they're not going to get support. And you can just do things like that. You can do unscalable things for quite a long time, really. Eventually, you'll get to the point where you can't do them anymore, but then then you're already large at that point. So that'd be what I'd consider.
This is such a critical point you make, Dan, that a lot of people get caught up in this. They compare themselves to someone else in their market that's built something great, big, and huge. And I mean, just take that for inspiration, but there a lot of times people, they want the smaller brands. They want this closer connection. Dan, I was just thinking, did you see Kate Courtney? She just set the women's record at the
I
Leadville.
did see that. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
So this is a young woman now, and she's probably in her later 20s now, and she is a mountain bike racer, and she is from California. And so I'm a passionate mountain biker. Dan is as well. Dan used to race. My daughter used to race, and so Kate, she's from California. She was racing. She's someone came on my radar when she was like 21 or so, and she was winning like the U.S. National. So I was just following her on Instagram when she had, I don't know, maybe 20,000 followers. And then she went on to get better and better and win the world championship, the first American to win a world championship in mountain biking in forever. She won the World Cup, and she's now got like 500,000 followers. But I feel like I've got this special connection to her because I was in when she only had 20,000 followers, and it's like I feel like this connection when you get on when you get on the train early for someone, and that same thing can happen for you. People love to find small brands, small creators that they feel connected with. And if you're competing against someone that's huge with a huge following, they have advantages, but you do as well, just like Dan spoke to.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Ooh, how about, let's see. Is giving away a mini course for a lead magnet too much? Probably. I would instead pick one. Great thing you can do with a lead magnet is all you need to do with a lead magnet is promise awareness. So, 10 reasons that 10 reasons your bench press is not getting stronger. 10 reasons why, you're having trouble growing big tomatoes. All you need to do, just promise an awareness in your lead magnet. Take that little mini course you have, and I would adapt that to the sideways sales letter and use that content as your launch content. So you're still giving it away, but you're giving it away in a launch format that's building towards making an offer. That would be my recommendation there.
Yeah, question. Let's see. Where did that go? I'm starting out very introverted and don't like being loud or too much
I was going
people.
to take that one next too.
Yeah. Are there any introverted ways? Well, I'll tell you, I am an introvert, and most of the people in this industry are introverts. There's a reason why we're built businesses online, because we're introverts. And so when I started out, there wasn't even a photo of me for the first 8 years that I was online. Because back in those days, it was hard to put a photo out, but it just shows you how far we've come. But so you can do launches with email. You can do launches that are screen cap where you're not on camera. You can absolutely do this without showing your face ever. I do think you're going to do a little bit better if you bring your personality in. And for me, I get to play. It's like I play an extrovert when I'm on camera, right? When I'm on a broadcast, then I get to play an extrovert. And but afterwards, I have to go curl up into a ball in the corner. So it's very doable. There's huge flexibility. You can do it. I've done launches just with email and loved them, frankly. So yeah, it's absolutely doable.
Yeah. I'm going to add just another dimension to this. I do think that's all accurate, but I also think there's a little bit of a level of like, you kind of got to get over it a little bit. And I say that as someone who's also an introvert. Like, I don't like, yeah, I'm an introvert. I identify with all those things he said. Don't like being loud, don't like being in the spotlight. I don't ever post anything on social media because posting something on social media to me feels like way more like, hey, look at me. This is what I'm doing. Pay attention to me than I like. But to some degree, you just kind of got to do it. If you want the results, it's one of those things that you might not like doing that you got to do. But two things that make me feel better that might make you feel better. First of all, is that you're almost certainly this is going to go out into the world. And even though you might be known in some circles then online, it's not going to be a big change in like your normal life. Like we go to big events, like when we've hosted big events, with 1,000 people or more in person, like Jeff will get swarmed by people wanting to talk to him, to the point where, like, as a team, we give him bodyguards to walk him from the stage back to his hotel room, not because someone's going to try to hurt him, but because he will literally never get home back to his hotel room to get some rest because there's 1,000 people wanting to start a conversation. So the bodyguard's role is just being like, hey, sorry, we got to get him rest. So, but you know what? Jeff, how many times do you get stopped walking around town, like, or get mobbed by fans or stuff? Like, yeah, and someone who's
No one in Durango knows who I am. They have no.
right. So there is at least that element of like you can, make your stuff, you can put it out into the world online, and then you can shut your computer and you're back to just being you. So to me, that helps me a lot. The second thing that's kind of cool though is that I know for me, even though I'm pretty introverted and I'm not the one to like strike up conversations with everyone I meet, but I could also talk a whole long time about a powder day that I just had skiing. I could talk a whole bunch about really great coffee. I could talk a whole bunch about race cars, like, because they're things that I love. So the benefit that you have is if you're starting a business about something that you're knowledgeable or passionate about, you're only really, at the end of the day, talking to other people who also love to geek out on that stuff. So to me, I don't know. It makes it a whole lot more doable. Like I'm jumping on here and being in front of a whole bunch of people, but I'm talking about stuff that I think is really cool and fun. And so it's a whole different game.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think in all these years, I've put out, I don't know, 700 videos on YouTube. I had a million, I don't know, last I looked, I think like 3 million views on YouTube. And I think I've been recognized in public maybe 12 times in all these years. So, and again, I love it because then it's someone coming up to me and they want to tell me about what they did in their business. So, yeah. Okay, enough of that one. Hi, Beth from the Reconnected family. Woohoo, for the Reconnected, they're showing up big.
Whoop.
I'm wondering if yeah, Emma and Eleanor were on our last Q&A. I'm not sure if they're on right now, but they were on the first Q&A. Let's see. I'm wondering if there's a way to do PLF for online spiritual / ceremonial offerings. like online women's circles, rites of passage circles, thinking membership is my best option. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. It's been done many, many, many times. We've got every stripe you could imagine of spiritual, ceremonial. Literally my next door neighbor does, who came into my world and uses PLF, and he leads men's circles. And so absolutely, absolutely. Membership could be great, but you could also think about doing, yeah, I would also think about, like, I think seed launches could be cool, but also we have this thing we call Sparta launches, which is how you do a launch for a small, high-end, in-person type of experience, which would be 100% perfect for this. So I don't know if you're open to doing in person, but if so, Sparta launches are super cool for that.
Let's see. I've seen a bunch of questions like this, and you hit on this already a little bit, but this one's from Sarah. Sarah has a, oh, dang, don't you hate when it just
Right.
jumps on you? Sarah's looking for recommendations. He's got a current Facebook community, but is looking to start a membership. So, keeping this community she's got, but wanting to start charging for it, going deeper, giving more information, wondering if, wondering what the process would be and how a launch would work there. What I'd say is, so if you've already got an active, engaged community, that's fantastic. What I would do is start pulling out a couple maybe hot button topics, a couple things that your community members would love to go deeper on. And then you can start offering those things as a lead magnet, something where they get it for free if they just sign up for your email list. And then you could either deliver these as just, simple little lead magnets, just, a PDF or something like that, and then start sending them more content in your email list. Like, that's the end strategy there, I think, is start transitioning your Facebook group, which is a platform that you can't control and a platform that you can't even control how often they see your messages. Start transitioning them into an email group, keep giving them great information in that email group, and then I would invite that and then build a launch process and launch to that email group to launch the membership. I think you've got a very clear and strong path in front of you there.
Here's going from Rebecca. If your topic is a bit sensitive, like women who are drinking more than they would a self-paced course be a better launch idea than a webinar series where they might feel a bit exposed? I have a 5-day audio series out as a lead magnet. Yeah, this is a great one. And this is something we have a very, very, one of the stars of PLF is in this exact market. Literally women who are drinking a little more than they would like, where it's impacting their life, but they don't feel like they need to go full rehab. And so I think, self-paced course is good, and that's what she does. But I also think you should lean into the community building, because I think that this is a difficult thing that people struggle with. It's a hard thing, and it's easier to do hard things when you have a community. So, a webinar series, you could do a webinar series without having them be on camera, or you could make it okay for them to be on camera or not on camera. But yeah, I think self-paced course, what Kate has done is, I'm not sure what she's doing right now. So I hesitate to speak, but I think it was like she took people through the process. Like, it wasn't just like she turned them over to a course. And I think these days, more and more courses with some level of support and guidance and community are the way to go. Certainly the way we've gone.
Let's see. Tara's got one health coaching and currently has a problem, can only take so many clients in a week. Yeah, that's what happens. Totally know what you mean. So just wondering how would she do a seed? Where would the seed launch take the audience to if I did a webinar? I'm not quite sure I understand that question, but I think a seed launch is going to be an awesome opportunity for you. And I think the way that you would want to phrase it without knowing more details about your business, but it sounds like you got more demand than you can necessarily keep up with. So I imagine you have some kind of list in some way that you can reach these people. And so a seed launch, you're basically just going to say like, hey, I've got all these people and I keep getting asked questions about this topic. And unfortunately, I don't have enough room to take everybody into my one-on-one health coaching practice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer a free class on this topic because I've gotten so many questions about it. And then you send out an invite link, get people to sign up, and you host that like a webinar. And so then I would teach for, then I would teach on that topic. And then what you do is you offer people the opportunity to go deeper with you on that topic in a small group coaching format. So you say, hey, my one-on-one practice, we're all totally booked up. But what I'm going to be doing, because we have so many people who want information on this topic, is we're going to start a small group coaching program. And because you're here with me live, I'm going to give you the best possible deal on it. And here's a link to go sign up. And then boom, you're off to the races. You're going.
Yeah. So first of all, I just have to say, Dan, like there's just so many great questions, like in-depth questions here. So so thank you all just for playing full out and showing up. It's awesome. It is absolutely awesome.
Got someone asking about high ticket launches, launching a high ticket done for you coaching program. Would you recommend PLF to do high ticket sales? If so, one type of launch? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, PLF works fantastic for high ticket sales. Yeah, type of launch. The types of launches are not so much about the price point necessarily. It's about the format that you're looking to do them in. So if you already have a program already created, if actually here we go, yeah, $12,000, yeah, 12,000 person list. Honestly, if you got a 12,000 person list who are interested in the thing you're offering and you think that they're a good fit for your offer, I would do an internal launch to them. Like pretty classic, straight up.
Here's a question from Michael, Dan, and it says, Jeff, could you please make the earlier live question session available for review? Oh, I guess that's our what we did it from a couple days ago. It is. It's on
just for you. We can do it.
No.
Yeah, it actually already is live. So the masterclass homepage, that page that has all the video lessons, if you just scroll down a bit, there is the replay of the first Q&A is available there.
Yeah, and then Michael goes on to say, and could the young guy reintroduce himself again? I didn't get his name or role in your organization. So the young guy, his name is Dan Walker, and Dan has been working in our organization since 2010. He is currently our marketing lead, really our marketing manager. He runs our campaigns. He is someone who has collaborated with me in every launch I've done in the last 15 years. Initially producing our video, then our live broadcast, but within that, every single broadcast we do, every single video, it's Dan and I working together to create the messaging. And so Dan's been involved in more million-dollar launches than anyone in the industry other than me. So that's who he is.
Let's see. Question here. Power says, I'm a multifaceted person. I create paintings, also coach and teach numerology, astrology, etc. How to have launches for different products that I have, but keep a coherency in my business. Honestly, first of all, just pick one. Pick one that you like the most, you think will do the best, that maybe you get asked questions about the most. And I would start there and then start adding on other things and consider what would be next great steps for your people. I'll say Jeff has got a whole lot of passions and hobbies and things he's got a lot of expertise on, but he chooses to go really deep on launches because
I'm really good at like rowing a raft down whitewater, kayaking whitewater. Like if you want to talk about like rowing a raft down Colorado River and Grand Canyon, that's me. But not something, it's not. It's an interest. It's a passion. But
yeah, you don't need to do everything. You probably shouldn't do everything. And I'd pick one and get going on that.
As a goal / business, sorry, Dan. Sorry,
oh no, I was just a really quick one. I just saw Julie is asking how to find the case studies on that masterclass homepage, right underneath the video lessons. There's a button that'll take you to the whole case studies page. There's like 100 different ones, over 100 different ones. So, and we really made these case studies to be examples. So if you're like, how does this work for people like me? Go check out that case studies page. We go deep on those into how people have applied PLF to their specific situation. We've got everything from people who are just, teaching people business online to people who are literally teaching people how to scream. So there's a whole range there. I bet you'll find someone like you.
Mhm. I had one here. Where did it go? Where do I get the expansion pack? Send an email to support@productlaunchformula.com. It is support@productlaunchformula.com. If for some reason the expansion pack didn't pop up for you.
Yeah. Or if anything's not working quite right for you,
Yep.
they'll take care with you. It's one thing we learn, we have when you have it is shocking how putting tens of thousands of people through a website just manages to break things in ways that you could never possibly imagine they could break. I have learned about like 3 different web browsers that I didn't even know existed, like because through this launch, because people are like, we're having trouble doing it with this. And I'm like, I don't even know what that is. And I'm like, oh, it's a different web browser. There's some block, who knows.
Okay. Could I do a seed launch on a passive income product? I personally don't believe that passive income exists. That's my professional business opinion. It's just, I don't even know what that means, a passive income product. Sorry, I'm not trying to be flippant, but, yeah.
Here's an interesting one. I'm a financial literacy coach. I have a flagship course. I teach it twice a year, coaching people to open their first stock portfolio and making trades. They recoup the cost of the course within the quarter if they're committed. I tend to get, well, first of all, that's freaking awesome. Love that. I tend to get people through word of mouth. I don't enjoy the promotional period. I figure I either get to make it more automated. What would you do? So that's a good question. Um, I would think about what don't you enjoy with that promotional period? I think if it's something like you don't enjoy being, say, personally involved, then I think a launch where you primarily like where you film a set of videos and then use those as your launch material, you could run that launch nearly on autopilot. Where you would not need to be creating a whole bunch of new stuff. You wouldn't necessarily need to be showing up live. You could do them all recorded videos. You could do it all where you just kind of say like, all right, we're going to be launching these next couple weeks and just, kind of hit the go button on that and just let it happen without you really needing to be involved beyond just say monitoring and making sure that there's no, weird tech issues or stuff like that. So especially like we're in sort of a spot where we end up recording our launch videos like quite often because I mean, even just AI coming out, it's like our market changes very fast. But I would guess that for opening a first stock portfolio and making trades, I'm guessing your market doesn't change super fast. So you could probably record a set of videos and use them for years. If, on the other hand, you would rather be like more personally involved in that process and you just kind of enjoy teaching, but you don't enjoy the selling of it, I think more of a seed launch type process could be really good, where you kind of take people in, you guide them through doing their first stuff, and then you make an offer for the flagship course at the end.
Dan, I'm sitting here digging for some research. So we have, there's a question here from Sarah McKeegan, who we just released a case study with a couple of days ago. So Sarah,
really?
yeah.
I think she was the Sarah whose question we answered earlier, actually. I didn't
Oh,
realize
really?
that.
Well, this her question here is, as a goal, is it better to have a tiered product suite, multiple programs, or 1 or 2 programs that you go super deep on? And so Sarah is a physiotherapist for, I think it's just dogs, but for pets. I think it's just dogs.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so she's a physical therapist, and then she just started specializing in dogs. And Sarah, I was just watching your case study that you did with Chris. It was awesome. And so, tiered product suite versus multiple programs or 1 or 2, it really depends on the market you're in and what you want to build and what type of business it's impossible to do a one size fits all. I mean, for me, it's been PLF for 20 years now, and that's worked really, really well. A lot of people, frankly, they get bored. I don't get bored. I just love, I love watching case studies of people like you. So, it's just really difficult to say. I don't know. There's just no one answer to this. Generally, it's great to have a second offer. And this goes for everyone. Whatever your first offer is, then you end up having a second offer that at a higher price, usually about 5 times, 5 to 10 times higher, because people will want to go more intimate. Now, I worry about, in answering that question, I'm answering Sarah, who's a PLF owner, and she's done these launches and she's starting to do very, very well with them. And, but if you're watching this and you're just starting out, don't worry about the second offer. Just get the first one done. Just get the first one done.
Nice. Oh man, I just lost the one that I was about to. Okay. I cannot find your question, so I don't have your name. I'm sorry. It was someone from the Reconnected who has an Etsy shop and sells physical products. And this person was wondering if they should close their shop and only open it during launches, or if they should have it open all the time and maybe have their launch like offer a deal or something like that. So honestly, you could go either way. There's kind of a few different paths you could go with physical products. And there's a few different paths you go with physical products. So one way you could do that is by, doing a launch and only having your products available during a certain time. If you're getting regular sales through your Etsy store right now and you're enjoying that part of it, I probably wouldn't do that. What I would probably do is find some way to make that launch window really special. So it could be a bundle, it could be a deal. Honestly, what I like the most is doing something exclusive. So say if you normally sell really cool, like, great, like little sculptures or something. I have no idea what you sell, but maybe you make some special limited edition ones that are extra cool or take more time or are personalized or are just limited edition by the fact that there's not that many of them, something like that. And then maybe you do regular launches for those really limited edition ones. Because then you have some built-in scarcity where there's only so many and then they go away. But other options for a physical product is you could do, some sort of deal, a sale, a bundle, any sort of other reason why you could make that time special. And then the final thing you can do, and this is one of my strongest recommendations for physical product people, is that if you have enough skill to make a physical thing that people want to buy, there are going to be a lot of other people out there who want to know how to do what you do. And there's going to be people who want to just know how to make the physical thing, and that's all they really care about. And then there's also going to be people who want to make and sell the physical thing. So what I would do is not necessarily saying, get rid of your product business where you're making these things and selling them, but you can also add on the side a business where you create a short course about how to do the thing that you do and then launch that in addition. So, you're still doing the thing that you're passionate about, making your thing, but that can add that can very quickly become a far more profitable business than what you're actually selling. And it'll also help drive demand for the things that you are physically making.
So here's a couple of quick ones. Lisa's asking, she's wants to be a parenting coach or is a parenting coach. And she sees other people in the market who are doing a lot of social, a lot of Facebook, a lot of reels,
Sure.
such. And she's asking, do you need to do this? And what you need to do is you need to build an audience. And there's a few different ways to build an audience. Social is one of them. You don't have to do social. It's a great way to build an audience. Frankly, it's not my primary way, but it's a great way. So, I mean, in general, in the way I define it, there's 3 ways really to drive traffic. And one is by what we call, like, you could be social or earned media. or organic traffic. And this could be social, it could be going on podcasts, it could be speaking. The other one would be joint ventures or affiliates, having other people that have already built an audience and having them tell their people about you and your offering. And then the third one would be paid traffic, where you're running ads and the ads are going into your offer. A lot of people are like, they ask, like, how can I do that? A lot of people say, how can I do this without social? Or how can I do this without paid? And it's, I think those are the wrong questions. It's like, how, if for paid, it's like, how can I do it and have it be profitable right from the start? Because that's, people don't want to do paid traffic because they don't want to spend money on advertising. But if you could spend $1 and get $2 back, would you do that? So, so it isn't like, don't rule any of these out automatically. You know, if it's social and you don't want to be doing like, you know, dances on TikTok, it's like, how can I do this without doing dances on TikTok or having to do a reel every single day? And there are ways. And, you know, for us, we drive traffic all the ways, every way we can come up with. Probably the number one way we've done it over the years is through partners and through joint venture partners and affiliates, and having people that have already built a list of people that might be interested in our stuff and having them tell their people about our stuff.
Awesome. Let's see. Someone asked, I think this is after you introduced me a second time. Someone's like, what, did you hire when he was 10? That's funny. I started when I was 21. So 21 in 2011. So you can do some math. Let's see. Todd saying, I have a series of AI training videos, playbooks, prop books, presentations, podcasts for specific industry that I have a client base in for another service. Also has partnerships with a trade association. What launch type would you start with? I would start with an internal launch. So if you already have an audience and you already have your product, you already have an audience, straight up internal launch. What I would say is that do the internal launch first, because then you can verify that your offer is good and your offer converts. Once you know that your offer sells well, then I would reach out to that trade association and see if they'd be interested in partnering with you for a joint venture launch. So you go to them and you say, hey, look, I've sold this thing. I sold it through this launch process. I used product launch formula and it worked super, super well. This is how much money I made per person that joined my launch. And then you say, hey, if you send people to my next launch, then I will give you a percentage of the sales from those folks who come in. And yeah, but I would do the internal launch first, because hopefully you knock it out of the park on your first one, but you might find some things you want to tweak, and you want that as good as possible before you go to that trade association and ask them to trust you. You know, because if they promote you, they want to make sure that your thing is good and that it's, you know, going to make money for them, and that also their people are going to be happy to have been sent to you. So make sure you get it good.
And I would just add that after having done dozens of launches, I would just say that there will absolutely be things that you will want to tweak. You're not going to be perfect the first time, but
Or the 20th time.
yeah, I make mistakes every single time I do a launch. It's one of the great things about this process is that it really is forgiving. Think of it like the opposite. Like here in the States, we have this big thing called the Super Bowl. You've probably heard of it. And there's Super Bowl commercials. You've probably heard about those. And people spend millions of dollars producing those commercials and millions of dollars putting them on the air. And they get one shot. They get like 30 seconds in the commercial every year. Some of them are just home runs and some of them just don't work. That's a very risky proposition. In a launch, because of the sequence, if something goes wrong or you forget to do something, there's always room for recovery. So you can make mistakes. It's a very forgiving process. And Dan, you got a shout out, or Jenny gave you a thank you about the Etsy question. She loved your answer. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Jennifer's asked, I love the part of the seed launch that makes money while I'm building my program. If I do it that 5-day daily freebie, then what would be the price point for the next phase? So price points are all over the place. You know, if you're a dog physiotherapist, you're gonna have one price point. If you're teaching people how to, I don't know, how to play tennis, it's a different price point. If you're teaching a venture capitalist how to sell their business for, you know, $1 billion, it's going to be a different price. So it depends on the market. The one thing is, Jennifer, is your pre-launch, the length and what you do in your pre-launch isn't the driving factor for your pricing. The driving factor is the transformation you're going to make for the people who buy from you. What's the transformation you're going to make in their life? And what is that worth? You know, what's it worth to someone to quit smoking? What's it worth for someone to have a meditation practice? What's it worth for someone to have a business? And that is what drives the pricing. We got about 10 minutes here, Dan. So
Oh, no, I'm trying to grab some that can speak to multiple questions at once, you know? Only downside to these Q&As is we inevitably run out of time before we run out of questions. One question here, like, how would you find the best joint venture affiliates if you're looking to do a JV launch? Honestly, I would say that they would be the people who you might consider your competitors. I'd say other people who are in a similar market to you. Probably the best person is someone who's teaching something that's very similar, but not quite exactly like yours. So, you know, I don't know if you're teaching like how to get stronger, but you know, in the gym, or you're teaching how to get stronger, but you don't have anything about nutrition, then you could partner with somebody who is really good with nutrition, but doesn't offer anything about the actual training. So, you know, that's probably the best. But honestly, like a lot of our best affiliates are people who are also teaching how to build a business online.
yeah.
Because then you know that their list is interested in the thing that you're offering.
Yeah. Merrill asked if you're a new business trying to build an audience, is there a cadence for seed launches? Too many, too often, or too infrequently to gain traction? It really is a question about your market and how it recharges. Like there are some markets where there's just tons of new people coming into the market, and it's really about also a question about how your list recharges. So we all need to be building our lists all the time. That's part of being in business. Any business, you need to have a flow of prospects coming into your world all the time. Every business is like that. Every online business is like that. And so this question of the frequency of your launches is generally more about the recharge, how you're adding people. But I think in general, I would think maybe I personally have done usually in this business, I do one big launch a year. We used to do two, and then we found we could get as much results from one big one a year. Then we'll do little promotions here and there, but one big launch a year. In my last business, I would do 2 or 3 a year. And that seemed about the right cadence with the people coming on the list. One of the things like that you will notice is that often someone will sit on your list and go through a launch and not buy, and then buy a second for your second launch or your third launch or your fourth launch. So if you do this right in your launch, you're building value and you're giving a great experience, and people appreciate that. Like if you in the chat, any of you PLF owners who were on the list for a while before you bought, just type it in there. It'll be curious to see if anyone, because we've had people that, I mean, we just had someone buy from us. He bought from me a high-end package in 2009. And then last year he bought from us again. So it was like 14 years later. He stayed in our world, and 14 years later bought from us.
Happens all the time.
14 years is pretty remarkable, though.
That is pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
Tina's wondering, how do you handle the overwhelm? So many things to do and think about when it comes to making an offer. Like you said, it gets a little crazy thinking about all the ways to get my service out there, and I don't do any of it, and then feel bad. Yeah, I think that's a very real danger. And I think it's a trap that's easier and easier and easier every day to fall into, because there's just more and more noise out there in the market, and you can't get on social media without 10 different people telling you the best way to do something. And 8 of them probably are just regurgitating what they saw in somebody else's video and trying to get started by just doing that. So honestly, it's one step at a time. And that's one of the really cool things. I would say, I'd say pick one person to follow, pick one mentor to follow. I would recommend Jeff, honestly, and obviously, but even if it's whatever, pick one mentor and learn from them until you get it really, really dialed. I mean, we got a ton of people here from the Reconnected, and I'll say that's one thing that I know that. So Em and Eleanor, from the Reconnected, they've done really big launches. They've built a fabulous community. They've been part of our mastermind groups for years. And I remember at times there was a question like coming up, and they were like, someone was like, "And who all do you follow?" And they were like, "It's just Jeff." Like it works. These launches work really well for us. So why would we? Why? Like, works great. So it's just kind of funny. But I just love that. But I would say, Tina, it's the seed launch is a great process. Huh?
Eleanor.
Eleanor's in the chat. Yeah,
She's
100%.
not 100% true.
That's awesome. Hey, Eleanor. But I would say the seed launch, one thing that's really great with the seed launch process is that you really don't need a whole lot of things, like you need a way to be on a video chat with a group of people. Zoom works really well for that. You need a way to take payments. I like Stripe, just like done. You can go sign up for Stripe and it's free and they'll just take a percentage of the sales. Like just do that to start out with. You need a way to send emails. Aweber is a great service, totally free. There you go. Those are all your tech tools. Done. Like all you need to do is just follow those seed launch steps. It's just getting in a conversation with your people, build a small audience, get in a conversation with them, and then get them on a Zoom, teach them something really cool, make an offer to go deeper with you in a small group format. Seed launch, done.
Yep. Here's a question. What's the best way to approach someone who might be an affiliate for you? Just contact them and tell them about your product and ask if they'll be willing to help you promote it. No, generally that's not how it works. If someone has a good list of, where they have a good relationship and they can send you a lot of traffic, they have more people asking them to promote than they could possibly promote. So the affiliate game, the joint venture game is a long-term game where you build relationships over time. And it's just like any relationship, it ends up being, so Emma and Eleanor are here. They're here with us right here in this chat. They're partners for us. They're affiliate partners or joint venture partners. They literally have done $1 million launches teaching people about breathwork. So I know a lot of you are from the Reconnected here, but a lot of you have no idea what we're talking about. So Emma and Eleanor are stars in our community. And oh, by the way, if you show up for every one of our lives, here's just a hint, you might actually get to see Emma and Eleanor. Just dropping a little Easter egg there for you. But they teach people about breathwork, specifically parenting through breathwork, better parenting through breathwork. And so they've done amazing launches, including $1 million launches. And they became partners for us, and they're amazing partners for us. And they tell their audience about us because of how much we have helped them and other people in their community. So it's a long-term relationship. We've had dinner together. They've been out here. They've been here to the secret headquarters in Durango. And so the joint venture game or the affiliate game, it's a shortcut, but it's also one where you build relationships over the long term. Now, another way to go, if you're just on someone's podcast, then you can ask, if you're just on someone's podcast, they'll generally allow you to talk about your thing, right? Well, one way to do it would be like, hey, when I talk about my thing, let's use a special link so I can track people and pay you commissions. Because my experience is that the more generous you are in business, the more it comes back. It pays to be generous in business, in my opinion. This isn't I know there's some businesses that are just super cutthroat. It's like dog eat dog kind of thing. And no offense, Sarah, but But that's this kind of business is generally not like that. This type of business, an online business in particular, especially online information businesses, they tend to be cooperative businesses more than super cutthroat competitive businesses. And maybe I'm just being Pollyanna about it, but that's the way it's worked in my life. And that's one of the things I love about this business, is because it's a business where a rising tide really does lift all boats.
Patrick says, I'm a junior golf coach helping competitive players. Wondering if I should launch a smaller coaching program or a larger one. That's a funny question because I don't know if I have a great answer for you in terms of like what you should personally do, because I think it's going to come down to what do you want to do. Generally speaking, though, launching a larger coaching program is usually going to be easier unless you have quite the following already. There's just always more newbies. There's always more people looking to get started. And it's generally going to be easier to create a course on, say, fundamentals than it's going to be to do something deeper. So I would probably start, like if anybody, I'm picking this question because I think this might be something a lot of people are wondering is like, should I like, try to just work with a couple high-end people, or should I create more of a course to go wider? I would generally say the usual path is to go wider, speak to the newbies, get people in. And then one really cool thing happens is that once somebody becomes a client of yours and someone purchases from you, they are massively more likely to purchase something else. Like we usually see that someone's like 15 times more likely to buy from us if they've already bought from us. So what I'd say is you can, cast a wide net originally, and then you're going to also pull in some people who just like you and like your approach, but who are, even if they're still beginners, they're going to be interested in going deeper with you. They're going to be willing to spend more money in order to go deeper and to be in a smaller program, get more personal attention. So it's usually easier to go wide and then to narrow down.